Yun heard the crossbow click behind him, 3 seconds before the kill shot. He was blind, alone on his penthouse terrace, and about to die. Then came the sound. Thwack. Wet. Final. Professional. "Just a bird, sir," his new nanny whispered, still pouring his tea like she hadn't just thrown a knife through a man's throat. Yun's hand froze on his cup. He smelled it beneath the bergamot. Fresh blood. The mouse he'd hired 3 weeks ago, the timid woman who could barely meet his eyes, had just executed an assassin without breaking stride, and she thought he was too blind to notice. Here's what nobody tells you about hiring someone to protect what you love most. Sometimes the monster you need is already standing in your kitchen, pretending to be harmless. Before we dive deeper, hit subscribe if you're ready to see how a blind man outplays a trained killer at her own game. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one, and I love knowing how far our stories travel across the world. The morning after the garden incident, Yun decided to test his theory. He sat at the breakfast table in his immaculate navy suit, listening to Mila move through the penthouse kitchen. She was making Hana's favorite, sweet rice porridge with cinnamon. The scent was warm, domestic, perfect. Too perfect. "Mouse," he called out, mockery sharpening his voice. "You walk like you're afraid to disturb the air itself. Are all women from your country so delicate?" "I simply try not to disturb you, sir. I know you rely on your hearing." Clever. Too clever. Yun tracked her by sound. The whisper of her cardigan against the counter. The soft pad of her feet on marble. The careful placement of dishes that made barely any noise. Most people got louder when they tried to be quiet. Mila got silent. That wasn't training. That was instinct. "It's annoying," he said flatly. "I can't tell where you are half the time." "I'll do better, sir." She didn't. Over the next 72 hours, Yun watched, or rather listened, as Mila moved through his home like she was casing it for an op. Every morning at 6 a.m. she'd do a full perimeter check. Not just closing windows, testing locks, checking hinges, measuring sight lines from outside. She memorized the floor plan in 2 days, never stumbled, never hesitated, never asked where anything was kept. When deliveries arrived, she positioned herself between the door and Hana's room. Always. When visitors came, she found reasons to lurk in hallways with her back to walls, hands free. Yun had trained bodyguards for 15 years. He knew what he was seeing, but Mila was supposed to be a nanny. Soft, timid, harmless. So why did she move through his penthouse like she was securing a kill zone? Tuesday morning, Yun set a trap. He was in the kitchen, attempting to pour coffee. Mila was putting Hana down for her nap, but he heard her key returning, those ghost-quiet footsteps approaching from behind. He waited until she was exactly 3 steps away. Then he knocked the boiling pot of water off the counter. The physics were perfect. The scalding liquid sprayed outward in an arc designed to catch anyone in that precise spot. A normal person screams. A normal person freezes. Mila moved. Yun heard it. The sharp breath. The instantaneous weight shift. The combat-sharp dodge to the left. For half a second she was pure weapon. Then she caught herself. A stumble. A gasp. The theatrical thud of her body hitting the kitchen island like she'd panicked and tripped over her own feet. Oh my goodness. Are you all right, sir? Yun turned toward her voice, expression neutral. I'm fine. Clumsy of me. You're not burned? Pause. Too long. No, sir, I... Step back just in time. Lucky. Lucky. He'd heard her move, fast, controlled, lethal. Then he'd heard her fake the stumble, manufacturing clumsiness, to hide the trained reflex that came before it. She was pretending to be helpless. Yun smiled into his coffee cup. Very lucky. Here's what most people miss about deception. It's not about the lie you tell. It's about the truth you almost reveal. And Mila had just shown him exactly who she was. That night, lying in bed staring at the ceiling he couldn't see, Yu-Yun's mind raced. If she wanted him dead, she'd had a dozen clean shots already. If she was corporate espionage, she would have searched his office. So what the hell was she? The answer came screaming through the penthouse at 2 a.m. Hana's nightmare tore Yu-Yun from sleep. He bolted upright, cane in hand, adrenaline spiking. His daughter was screaming, raw, terrified, the kind of sound that stops a parent's heart. He stumbled down the hall, disoriented in permanent darkness, but by the time he reached her door, the screaming had stopped. He heard voices instead. Breathe in for 4, Hana. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Hold for 4. Mila's voice, calm, commanding, military. Again. In for 4. You're safe. I've got you. Yu-Yun pressed his palm against the doorframe, listening to Hana's ragged breathing slow and even out, matching Mila's count perfectly. Good girl. One more time. In. Hold. Out. Hold. Silence. Then steady. Deep breathing. Yu-Yun stepped into the room. What happened? A nightmare, sir. She's all right now. What did you do? Just a breathing technique. It helps with panic. Yu-Yun moved closer, his hand finding Hana's bed. His daughter's fingers squeezed his once. She was okay, but his mind was spinning. Where did a nanny learn to calm a soldier's panic? The room went dead silent. I'm sorry? That's box breathing, Yu-Yun said quietly. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. It's a military technique. PTSD management. Tactical stress control. He tilted his head toward her. So I'll ask again, Mouse. Where did you learn it? 3 heartbeats too long. My brother was in the military. He taught me when I was young. I had nightmares too. Plausible, reasonable, perfectly delivered, completely wrong. Yu-Yun heard the lie in the half-second delay, in the careful construction, in the way she shifted her weight like she was preparing to bolt. I see, he said softly. He didn't see, but he was starting to understand. Everyone says, trust your gut. They're wrong. Trust your ears. Trust the pauses. Trust what people do when they think you can't catch them. The parking garage attack confirmed everything. The clinic visit was supposed to be routine. Eye exam, confirmation of permanent blindness, back home. Mila drove. Hana colored quietly in the back seat. 20 minutes, no change, still blind. They returned to the parking garage in silence. 4 men materialized from the shadows. Heavy boots, cheap cologne, street thugs looking for easy ransom money. Well, the blind dragon all alone. Yu-Yun's hand tightened on his cane. Mila's voice came from his left. Sir, stay behind me. Big talk. The thugs laughed. Then Mila moved. But it was strange violence. Surgical violence disguised as chaos. Yu-Yun heard a man charge, then the slam of a car door closing on fingers, followed by screaming. Another rushed from the right, the screech of a handle being yanked, the thug tripping and smashing his face into the sedan's hood. Oh no, please be careful. Mila's voice, high and terrified. But Yu-Yun heard the precision, the car door positioned at the exact angle. The stumble timed perfectly to make the attacker overextend and fall. A third man grabbed for her. Wet crunch of nose-meeting concrete column. He ran right into it. I tried to warn him. No, she'd guided him into it. The fourth pulled a knife. Mila screamed. Then the knife clattered to the ground, the wrist snapping like dry wood, the man howling as he collapsed. When security arrived, they found Mila sobbing against the car, Hana in her arms, 4 men groaning on the concrete. They attacked us, she whimpered. I was so scared. I just kept moving and they kept hurting themselves. The guards bought it. The police bought it. The surveillance footage would show a terrified nanny and 4 incompetent thugs. But in the car going home, Yu-Yun sat with his daughter and smiled. Because he'd heard it all. the surgical precision masked as panic, the controlled violence disguised as accidents. His mouse was an apex predator playing prey, and Yu Yun was falling in love. If you're wondering how a blind man falls for a woman he's never seen, stick with me. The answer's coming, and it's not what you think. He tested her more aggressively after that. Walked too close to terrace edges to see if she'd grab him. She did. Gently, apologetically, like a concerned servant. Left his office unlocked at night to see if she'd search it. She never did. But he heard her walk past it 3 times, heard her resist. They were playing a game. The question was, who would break first? The answer came at 2:47 a.m. on a Friday. Yu Yun couldn't sleep. His mind was too full of Mila, the way she moved, breathed, killed, lied. He lay in bed staring at nothing, listening to the penthouse settle. Then he heard it. Click, slide, click. Metal on metal. Precise, mechanical. Click, slide, click. Yu Yun's heart stopped. He knew that sound. Every soldier knew that sound. Someone was field stripping a pistol. He slipped out of bed, moving silently through halls he'd memorized. The penthouse was his domain. He didn't need sight. Click, slide, click. The sound came from the living room corner near the windows. Yu Yun crept closer, breathing controlled, footsteps non-existent. Then he heard her whisper, 17 seconds, too slow. Click, slide, click. She was timing herself, practicing, disassembling, and reassembling a firearm in darkness, shaving seconds off her reload time. Click, slide, click. 15 seconds, better. Slide racked. Magazine clicked home, safety engaged. He recognized every sound. Glock 19, compact, standard issue for a dozen intelligence agencies. Yu Yun stepped into the room. 14 seconds is agency standard, he said quietly. You're close. Absolute silence. Then Mila's voice, stripped of all pretense. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. Yu Yun moved closer, cane tapping marble. How long have you had a Glock hidden in my home, mouse? Since day one. He laughed, sharp, bitter. Of course. Where? Taped under Hana's dresser. You'd never look there. Smart. He stopped 3 feet away. Are you here to kill me? No. Then why the gun? Long silence. When she spoke again, her voice was different, harder, colder, real. Because I didn't know if you'd figure me out. And I didn't know what I'd do if you did. And now I don't know anything anymore. The honesty hit harder than any confession. She was as lost as he was. Yu Yun smiled in the darkness. Put the gun away, Mila. That's not my real name. I know. Put it away anyway. He heard her move, disassembling the Glock, crossing to Hana's room, reapplying tape. When she returned, she stopped in front of him. What now? Yu Yun reached out, hand finding her shoulder, then her jaw. She didn't flinch. He traced her cheekbone with his thumb, learning her face through touch. Now you tell me who sent you, and I decide if I'm going to kill you or keep you. Mila's breath hitched, but before she could answer, the power cut out. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing everything in blood red. And somewhere in the stairwell, Yu Yun heard boots. Many boots. Tactical formation. Military precision. They were out of time. Mila's hand closed around his wrist, grip iron strong. Get Hana, safe room, now. What's happening? They're not here for you, Yu Yun. Her voice went flat, final. They're here for me. Here's the thing about secrets. They don't stay buried. They come for you. Usually armed. Usually at the worst possible moment. Emergency lights cast blood-red shadows. Yu Yun's hand was still on Mila's wrist, her pulse hammering. In the stairwell, boots closed in. Measured, tactical, professional. The safe room, Mila repeated, voice stripped bare. Behind the bookshelf in your office. Biometric lock. Get Hana, go, now. Yu-yun didn't move. His fingers tightened. Who sent you, Mila? Who are you really? Does it matter anymore? Yes. Boots hit the landing below. 15 seconds, maybe 20. Mila's other hand came up, fingers wrapping around his. For a moment her touch was gentle, almost tender. I was sent to kill you 6 months ago. Korean intelligence wanted you dead. The Gumryong syndicate was getting too powerful. They hired my agency to make it look like a rival hit. Yu-yun's jaw clenched. And I watched you for 3 weeks. Learned your patterns. Found your weaknesses. I was ready to put a bullet in your head while you slept. Her voice cracked. Then I saw you with Hana. How you held her after nightmares. How you sang even though she couldn't sing back. How you touched her face every morning to make sure she was real. Boots hit their floor. 10 seconds. I couldn't do it, Mila whispered. I refused the contract. Went dark. My agency doesn't tolerate refusals. They've been hunting me for 5 months. I thought hiding with a blind man would buy me time. Her laugh was bitter. I was wrong about you being an easy mark. 5 seconds. Yu-yun pulled her closer, forehead almost touching hers. Are you here to finish the job now? No. Then who are you really? I'm the woman about to save your life. Now get our daughter to safety before I have to protect you both. Our daughter. The words hit like a physical blow. The penthouse door exploded inward. Flashbangs detonated, light and sound designed to disorient. But Yu-yun was already blind, already operating in darkness. He grabbed Mila's hand and ran. Hana's room. I'll get her. Go. Mila shoved him toward his office and vanished into chaos. Yu-yun stumbled through the home he knew by heart. Behind him, men poured through the shattered door. Professional. Coordinated. At least a dozen. He made it to his office, slammed the door, engaged the lock. His hands found the bookshelf, found the biometric scanner. It read his palm and the shelf swung inward. Yu-yun stepped inside, leaving the door open. Because Mila was coming. She had to be coming. Gunfire erupted in Hana's room, 3 shots, suppressed. Silence. Then Mila's footsteps, running. Daddy's got you, baby. Don't look, don't look. She burst in with Hana clutched to her chest, the girl's face buried in Mila's cardigan. Yu-yun grabbed them both, pulling them into the safe room. The door started to swing shut. Mila shoved Hana into his arms and stepped back out. What are you? I can't lead them to you. She was stripping off her cardigan, Velcro ripping as a shoulder holster was exposed. Stay here, don't die. Mila, my real name is Kira, in case I don't make it back. The safe room door slammed shut. Through 6 inches of reinforced steel, Yu-yun heard her rack the slide on her Glock. Then he heard her walk back into hell. Everyone says love makes you weak. They're wrong. Love makes you lethal. The safe room had surveillance feeds Yu-yun couldn't see. He could only listen through the audio system as Hana trembled in his arms, silent and shaking. For 30 seconds, only tactical call-outs in Korean and English. Clear. Moving. No visual on primary targets. Then Kira spoke. Her voice came through speakers, cold, dead. Gentlemen, you're in my house. Gunfire erupted, but it was scattered, panicked. Men, screaming coordinates that made no sense because their target was already gone. Contact left. No. Right. Suppressed pistol, body hitting floor. She's in the walls. Another shot. Another body. Yu-yun held Hana tighter, listening to the woman he'd called Mouse systematically hunt trained killers through his home. She wasn't running. Wasn't hiding. She was Predator. All units, thermal imaging, find her. Thermal's down. She cut the breakers? Of course she did. She'd memorized the electrical system in week 1. Authoritative voice. Spread out, 2-man teams. She's 1 woman with a pistol. We are 15 professionals with automatic weapons. Act like it. Silence for 10 seconds. Then Kira's voice. Whisper carrying through speakers. 14. Scream. gurgling, wet sound of knife finding artery. 13. More gunfire, wild, desperate, glass shattering, men shouting. 12. 11. She wasn't just killing them. She was making them afraid. Yu-yun listened, frozen, as the countdown continued. Every number was another corpse. Another professional outmatched by the woman who'd spent 3 weeks pretending to be afraid of loud noises. 7. Voice cracking. Fall back. Everyone fall back to... Speaker cut out. When it came back, only breathing. Heavy. Pained. And footsteps. One person walking slowly through carnage. Yu-yun's chest tightened. Kira? No answer. Footsteps stopped outside the safe room. Palm pressed against biometric scanner. Wrong hand. Access denied. Then Kira's voice, weak but steady. Yu-yun, it's clear. Let me in before I pass out. He punched the release code. Door swung open. Kira stumbled in. Even blind, Yu-yun could hear the damage. Breathing labored. Something dripping. Blood hitting floor in steady rhythm. You're hurt. I'm functional. She slid down the wall, landing hard. They're all dead. 15 men. Building security will find them. In 10 minutes, when they realize cameras are offline. Yu-yun set Hana down gently, moved toward Kira, hands searching for the wound. She caught his wrist. Left side, ribs, through and through. I'll live. You need a hospital. I need to disappear before your people arrive. She tried to stand. Legs gave out. Yu-yun caught her, easing her back down. You're not going anywhere. They'll send more. My agency doesn't stop. They'll keep coming until I'm dead. Then we kill your agency. Kira laughed. Broken, painful. That's not how this works. I'm a liability. I refused a contract. Went dark. Killed 15 of their contractors tonight. Head dropped back. They'll burn everything I've ever touched, including you, including Hana. I don't care. You should. Her hand found his face, fingers tracing his jaw. I'm sorry. I should never have come here. I should never have loved my daughter. She went very still. Yu-yun's thumb brushed her cheekbone. You called her our daughter before the attack. I didn't mean... Yes, you did. Silence. Then Kira's voice, barely whisper. She's the first person in 10 years who's looked at me like I'm not a monster. She can't speak. She doesn't have to. She draws me pictures, leaves me flowers, falls asleep holding my hand. Breath hitched. I've never... Yu-yun kissed her. Clumsy, graceless. He couldn't see, could only feel. But Kira kissed back with desperation of a woman who'd convinced herself she'd die alone. When they broke apart, she was crying. I can't stay. Watch me make you. Here's what I learned about love. It's not about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone whose damage fits yours. The aftermath was chaos. Building security found bodies. Police were called. Yu-yun's lawyers swarmed, spinning narrative, coordinated hit on the Gyumryong syndicate's leader, thwarted by personal security. Kira's name never came up. Bodies were too mangled, too professionally eliminated to suggest a single shooter. While authorities processed the scene, Yu-yun's private doctor stitched Kira up. She refused anesthetic, refused to make a sound, refused to show weakness. When the doctor left, she started packing. Yu-yun heard her moving through the guest room, drawers opening, duffel being zipped. He appeared in the doorway, leaning on his cane. Where will you go? Somewhere they won't find me. That place doesn't exist. Kira stopped packing. Then I'll die somewhere far from here, far from her. She needs you. She needs to live. Kira's voice hardened. My agency will send everyone, not just contractors, hunters, cleaners, entire tactical teams. They'll level this building to get to me. I won't let Hana become collateral damage. Then we kill them first. You don't understand what you're... I run the largest criminal syndicate in East Asia. Yu Yun said quietly. I have 5,000 men, connections, in 40 countries, more money than your agency's entire black budget. You want a war? He smiled. Cold. Dangerous. I'll give them a fucking war. Kira turned to face him. Why? Because you saved my daughter. That's not a good enough reason to start an international incident. Yu Yun stepped into the room, closing distance. Because I've spent 5 months listening to you, learning you, wanting you. His hand found her face, touch, reverent. Because blind or not, I see you, Kira, the real you, and I'm not letting you walk away. I'm a killer. So am I. I've murdered 43 people. I've ordered the deaths of hundreds. I don't know how to be anything except a weapon. Then be my weapon. Yu Yun's thumb traced her lower lip. Be Hana's shield. Be the queen of an empire built on blood and violence and call it home. Kira's breath came in short gasps. You don't want me. You want the idea of me. I want the woman who counts exits in her sleep, who memorized my security system in 3 days, who killed 15 men to protect a child that isn't even hers. Forehead pressed against hers. I want the woman who calls herself a monster but sings lullabies at 2 a.m. You're blind. You don't even know what I look like. I know you move like water. I know your voice goes soft when you talk to Hana. I know you smell like vanilla and gunpowder. Yu Yun smiled. I know you're the most dangerous person I've ever met, and I've never wanted anything more. This is insane. This is war. He stepped back, hand dropping. But if you want to leave, I won't stop you. I'll give you money, resources, new identity. You'll disappear, and I'll never look for you. Kira stared at him for a long moment. Then she picked up her duffel bag. Yu Yun's jaw tightened, but he didn't move. Didn't beg. He'd offered everything, and she was still choosing to run. Kira walked to the door, stopped in front of him. Where's your office? Yu Yun frowned. Why? Because if I'm staying, I need to know where you keep your weapons inventory. If we're going to war with an international intelligence agency, we'll need heavy ordnance. She set the duffel down. And I need Hana's measurements. Can't be a proper mother without knowing what size clothes to buy. Yu Yun's breath stopped. You're staying. I'm staying. She took his hand, placing it over her racing heart. But we do this my way. I'm not hiding behind your men. I'm not playing house while you fight my battles. If they come for me, I put them in the ground. Understood? Understood. And Hana comes first. Always. If this gets too dangerous, we'll protect her together, Yu Yun said. As a family. Kira's voice broke. I don't know how to be family. Neither does she. Neither do I. He pulled her closer. We'll figure it out. They stood there, blind Mafia Don and deadly assassin, holding each other in wreckage of a life neither had planned for. Then, Kira pulled back. Yu Yun, there's something you should know. What? Your eyes. The poison damage. When you were unconscious after the attack, I checked your medical files. The antidote existed all along. Your doctor was bought off by your rivals to tell you there was no cure. She paused. I contacted a specialist in Zurich. He can reverse it. You could have your sight back in 3 weeks. Yu Yun went very still. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I was planning to leave. Because I thought if you could see, you'd realize I'm not worth... Kira. What? Shut up. He kissed her again, deeper, hands tangling in her hair. When they broke apart, he was smiling. Schedule the surgery. I want to see your face when I ask you to marry me. Kira laughed, raw and real. That's premature. Is it? Yu Yun's smile turned wicked. You already sleep with a gun under Hana's dresser. You've killed for us. You've bled for us. Sounds like a wife to me. Sounds like an employee. Then let me make it official. He stepped back, hand finding his cane. Then, slowly, deliberately, lowered himself to one knee. Yuyun, what are you— I don't have a ring yet. I can't see your face. I don't even know if you'll say yes. But I know this. He reached out, hand finding hers. I was dead before you walked into my life. I was a blind man stumbling through darkness, waiting for someone to put a bullet in my head. Then you came. You terrified me. You challenged me. You made me feel alive again. Kira's hand trembled in his. I'm not a good man. I've done terrible things. I'll do more terrible things. But with you, I could be better. Not good, maybe, but better. Thumb stroked her knuckles. So I'm asking, not as your employer, not as some arrangement. I'm asking as a man who's never begged for anything in his life. Yuyun? Marry me, Kira. Be my partner, my equal, my queen. Voice dropped to whisper. Be Hana's mother. Be the family I stopped believing I deserved. Silence. Then Kira sank to her knees in front of him, hands framing his face. I have 43 kills on my conscience. I've tortured men for information. I've burned houses with people inside. I don't believe in redemption. Neither do I. I'll never be soft. Never be gentle. I don't want you to be. If we do this, if we're really doing this, I'm not the nanny anymore. I'm your partner. Your equal. I'm not taking orders from you or your lieutenants or anyone. Yuyun smiled. Deal. And Hana is ours, not yours. Ours. Deal. And if anyone threatens her, I'll burn the world down. I'll hand you the matches. Kira's laugh was wet with tears. This is insane. You already said that. It bears repeating. Yuyun's hands found her face, learning every curve, every angle. Is that a yes? Kira was quiet for a long moment. Then she leaned forward and kissed him. Soft and sweet and terrifying in its honesty. Yes, she whispered against his lips. God help us both. But yes. Here's the truth about redemption. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about finding someone who loves who you already are. 3 weeks later, Yuyun sat in a surgical recovery room in Zurich, bandages wrapped around his eyes. The procedure had taken 6 hours. The doctor promised results, but Yuyun had learned not to hope. Kira sat beside him, her hand in his. Ready? The doctor asked. No, Yuyun said honestly. Kira squeezed his hand. I'm here. Bandages came off slowly, layer by layer. Light filtered through. Painful. Overwhelming. Too much after months of nothing. Then the final layer was removed. Yuyun blinked. Once, twice. The world came into focus. First thing he saw was the doctor's face. Professional, cautious, hopeful. Second thing he saw was Kira. She was exactly as he'd imagined. Beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with softness. All sharp edges and fierce eyes and a mouth that looked like it had forgotten how to smile until recently. Hair pulled back in that severe bun. That damned beige cardigan hung loose over a simple gray dress. But her eyes. God, her eyes. They were watching him like she expected him to flinch. To see her and decide she wasn't worth it. Yuyun reached out, hand cupping her face. I've been blind for 5 months. I spent that time learning to see without eyes, learning to read people through sound and touch and instinct. Thumb brushed her cheekbone. I knew you were dangerous. I knew you were deadly. I knew you were beautiful. Kira's eyes glistened. And now that you can actually see me? Yuyun pulled her closer, forehead resting against hers. Now I know I was right. He kissed her, deep and claiming and absolutely sure. When they broke apart, Kira was crying. I look like a killer, she whispered. You look like a queen. Yuyun smiled. My queen. Behind them, the doctor cleared his throat awkwardly. I'll give you 2 a moment. When they were alone, Yuyun stood, pulling Kira to her feet. There's something I need to do. What? He dropped to one knee again, but this time he could see her face. Could see the shock, the fear, the desperate hope. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a ring, black diamond, simple, deadly elegant. I asked you once in the dark. Now I'm asking in the light. Kira, I don't know your last name. I don't know where you were born. I don't know half your secrets. He smiled. But I know I love you. And I know I want to spend the rest of my life learning everything I don't know. Kira's hands covered her mouth. Marry me. For real this time. No darkness, no hiding. Just you and me and Hana, building something beautiful out of all this blood. Kira dropped to her knees in front of him, tears streaming down her face. Yes, 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 yes. Yuyun slid the ring onto her finger, then pulled her into his arms. They knelt there on the hospital floor, two broken people who'd found something neither believed they deserved. I love you, Kira whispered against his neck. I know. I've heard it in every breath you take when you check on Hana at night. I've felt it in every time you positioned yourself between danger and me. He pulled back to look at her. I saw it 3 weeks ago when you killed 15 men to keep us safe. Kira laughed through tears. That's a concerning definition of love. We're concerning people. Fair point. Yuyun stood, pulling her up with him. Let's go home. Our daughter is probably driving my security team insane. Our daughter, Kira repeated, testing the words. Then she smiled. Real smile, bright and genuine and absolutely terrifying in its happiness. They walked out together, hand in hand. Behind them, the world waited, full of enemies, danger, people who wanted them dead. But ahead was Hana, was home, was a future neither had dared to imagine, and for the first time in their lives, both the blind Mafia Don and the deadly assassin could finally see clearly. 6 months later, Kira stood in the penthouse garden, same garden where she'd killed her first assassin with a fruit knife. She wore a simple white dress, hair loose for once, black diamond ring catching sunlight. Across from her, Yuyun stood in perfectly tailored black suit, dragon tattoo visible above his collar, his eyes, those eyes that had been blind and now saw everything, locked on her face. Between them stood Hana, holding a basket of flower petals, silence broken by the brightest smile either had ever seen. The ceremony was small. Just Yu Yun's most trusted lieutenants, an officiant who knew better than to ask questions, and a security perimeter that could repel a small army. Because Kira's agency had tried 3 more times to kill her. They'd failed. Badly. Turns out, a deadly assassin backed by a mafia empire was a lot harder to kill than they'd anticipated. You take this woman, the officiant began. Yes, Yu Yun interrupted. Skip to the end. Officiant blinked. I haven't finished. I've waited 6 months to call her my wife. I'm not waiting another second. Kira laughed. He's right. Skip to the end. Officiant sighed. Do you take this man? Yes, Kira said. Absolutely yes. Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you. Yu Yun was already kissing her. Lieutenants applauded. Hana threw flower petals with enthusiastic abandon. And somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed as another hit squad discovered exactly what happened to people who threatened the Gumryong Syndicate's new queen. When they finally broke apart, Yu Yun rested his forehead against Kira's. Hello, wife. Hello, husband. Hana tugged on Kira's dress. When Kira looked down, the girl was holding up a drawing, 3 stick figures labeled Daddy, Mama, and me. Kira's eyes filled with tears. She scooped Hana up, holding her, tight. We're family now. All of us. Forever. Yu Yun wrapped his arms around them both, and for a moment, just a moment, the Mafia Don and the assassin and the silent girl were nothing more than a family standing in sunlight. Then Yu Yun's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expression darkening. Problem? Kira asked. Rival syndicate making moves in Busan. Kira set Hana down gently, hand already reaching for the weapon concealed under her dress. Want me to handle it? Yuyun smiled, cold and dangerous and full of love. Together. Together, Kira agreed. They walked back into the penthouse, Hana between them, ready to face whatever came next, because they were no longer alone, no longer blind, no longer hiding. They were family. And heaven help anyone who tried to tear them apart. Here's what I've learned about family. It's not about blood. It's about who you'd bleed for, who you'd kill for, who you'd die protecting. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it's about finding people who'd do the same for you. If this story hit you the way it hit me, subscribe, because I've got more tales of dangerous people finding unexpected love in the darkest places. Comment where you're watching from. I read every single one, and I love knowing our stories are reaching you, wherever you are in the world. Until next time, remember, the most dangerous weapon isn't the gun. It's the person who knows exactly when to use it. And sometimes, the most dangerous thing of all is choosing love over survival.